Hi, I'm Pragya, and today I want to share with you my fascination with water. I love salt water, I love fresh water, standing under falling water, dancing in rainwater, underwater. But today I want to talk to you about clean water. When we think about good health, we don't necessarily attribute that to always drinking clean water. In our urban cities, in our homes, we're always getting clean water at home, so we're drinking nothing but clean water. I'm from India, and that's not the case for 70% of Indians who live in rural areas and villages where taps of running water are a luxury. What's worse is that 76 million people in India lack access to clean water. They don't have clean water coming into their homes, so they're never drinking clean water. The common rural household solution to this is to boil underground water to kill bacteria, but this does not rid away of pollutants in the water. So some communities like these are now turning towards social enterprises to buy clean water. These enterprises use distribution methods like water ATMs, home delivery methods, and mobile water vending machines, and more. One such organization is Spring Health, who allowed me to study them, use their networks, and innovate a new delivery model for them. In the past 5 years, they've reached 260 villages, but now their growth has stopped. So, to understand more about the challenges that Spring Health faces, I traveled to Odisha, a place I'd never been to before. Even though I'm from India, I grew up in sheltered, protected New Delhi, which doesn't look a lot like this. So, with funny shoes on and a camera in hand, I stood out immediately. I didn't speak the language, so breaking in was extremely tough. So, I just asked him to smile for me. I asked them to smile for me. And just like that, we were all at ease. My aim in Odisha was simple. I wanted to better understand the relationship between people and their source of water. Communities in rural Odisha are shaped around their access to water, which is mainly a well or a tube well. Houses clump themselves around this resource, share the water, and carry it back home. Any elder in the community will be able to spot a good well. It has a few characteristics. A good well never runs dry, even during the drought season. It's close to home, so you can carry this water back. And it's always available, so you can take as much water as you want whenever you want it. But in every village that I visited, even though there was abundant water, none of this water was fit for drinking. And that's where Spring Health comes in. Their business model is such that they take water from one well, clean the water, and fill it up into 10-liter jerry cans. Then the delivery man loads up his truck with all these cans and drives into the village. And once he's at the customer's doorstep, he transfers this water, clean water, into the customer's can. So the daily experience of a Spring Health customer is very simple. The customer receives water in the morning, at which point he's asked to predict how much water she needs for the entire day. This water is only used for drinking and the entire amount is consumed by dinner time, thus the can is empty by nightfall. So from dinner time till next morning, the customer has two options: to either boil more water or to get more water from the chlorinating plant. So why don't these customers just buy more clean water? For two reasons. Firstly, these customers earn less than $2 a day, and thus they have extremely thrifty purchasing habits. And secondly, these customers can taste chlorine in the water, and they believe that this is medicine. So this makes them feel that the water that they're buying is too precious, and that's why they don't want to buy a lot of it. So all of this makes them buy lesser water than they actually need, and thus they end up drinking bad underground water. It wasn't until the second time that I went back to Odisha that I realized that all the cost of this water was just the delivery cost, because groundwater is free and chlorination process is extremely cheap. Further analysis showed me that driving through narrow village roads, added payment procedures, and transferring of water into multiple vessels all add to the overall cost of this delivery. And there is an opportunity for optimization here. By addressing these redundancies within the delivery model, we can reduce the time and cost of this delivery, which will enable us to sell more water at the same price. What was needed was a new source of water for these customers, one that was always available so they could take water whenever they needed it at home, was abundant so they didn't have to worry about this water getting over, and this water had to have no restrictions of use on it. So these customers could use this water not just for drinking, but for all purposes of consumption. Much like a well of clean water, what if the Spring Health delivery model was turned into a well-like service of clean water that would make unlimited water available to customers by increasing the number of access points within the village? To test this, I went back to Odisha third time around to deliver water myself to 30 families for 7 days. The first thing I had to do was increase the number of access points in the village. This made the delivery man's work easier and much faster. Carrying a can of 10 liters of water is extremely hard, so I replaced their existing cans of 10 liters with smaller vessels of 5 liters, 2 liters, and 1 liter bottles. In this model, instead of the multiple blue cans that the delivery man carries, he now carries a single large tank in which he cleans the water. His task is now to every day in the morning fill smaller tanks at 3 access points, and then customers walk to collect water themselves in their new vessels. Houses once again clumped themselves around their nearest access point. A shorter distance between the customer and the source of clean water motivated them to walk to collect water, just as they would do with their regular wells. These smaller sizes made carrying water easy and gave customers the flexibility to take as much water as they needed, even when they needed just a little bit at home. The women who shared this resource live close to one another and trust one another. This made them accountable to one another so no one misused this resource. To measure results, I collected data. The average consumption of clean water increased from 10 liters to 17 liters per day per household, and this was because families were no longer just using this water to drink, but were also cooking with clean water and using it to make tea and coffee at home. This delivery time in this new model was reduced from 4 hours to 1 hour 15 minutes, which ensures that while we use the same delivery assets, Spring Health can now deliver water to 4 times the number of households. And lastly, not one person in these 30 families drank bad underground water and wanted to buy the service again, which in turn means better health. What all of this really means is that by just simply changing the distribution of this water, Spring Health customers were now always drinking clean water. And isn't that what we are working for? This proposed delivery model can be tweaked and adapted to the various different cultures of other social enterprises who are all facing the last mile delivery challenge. This process of using design thinking methodologies to innovate and enhance existing business models can ensure that these rural communities are always drinking clean water. So, wrapping it up, this journey that I took of going to a place I'd never been, of learning everything I could about a community, of intervening into their lives for the better, this process has left me wealthier with water. And thank you to these lovely people without whom this would not have been possible.